and welcome to another edition of the Monthly Mystical, which has been pointed out, maybe it shouldn't be a monthly mystical because I tend to get too excited and put them up too early. But anyway, I am very excited to welcome Alison Kelly today, and she's going to be talking about all things astrological. I managed to say that correctly. Okay, so let me just get her in and we can begin. You don't want to sit and listen to me. Okay, let's see. And here we go. I'll put them in gallery. There she is.
Hello, Jackie.
Hello, good afternoon, and how are we?
I'm good. I have a grumpy cat here, but I don't think she'll disturb us. She had to go to the vet this morning.
Oh, poor pussycat. And she hasn't got one of those cone things on, has she?
No.
Oh, she's all right then.
A few bits shaved.
Oh, bless her.
Anyway.
Okay, right. So, all things astrological is
well, that's a huge topic,
isn't it? Yes, I know. So let's first talk about you and your journey on the astrological path.
Yes, I thought that's a good place to start because I wasn't actually interested in astrology or any sort of mystical or spiritual work until I was nearly 40.
Wow.
I didn't do anything like that. And it was only because I was being made redundant. I worked in IT. I was 38.
Okay.
I thought, and a recruiting company said to me, well, you're getting too old to be re-employed as a woman in IT. Nobody will want you once you hit 40. I thought, oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was, but I did look at alternatives and I thought I'd study astrology or reflexology. And I decided to study astrology. And that was nearly 30 years ago now.
Wow.
So I went to the Faculty of Astrological Studies, who still run courses because I like quite a structured way of learning.
Right.
And in a year, I did the equivalent of A-level. I didn't even know what the glyphs were or anything apart from my sun sign when I started.
Yeah.
So it was quite intense. And we had to hand draw charts and we had 2 days of exams, like at desks.
So it's proper school type stuff.
Yeah, we had 3 papers. One of them was drawing a chart.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh, that's just mind-blowing in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a lot easier now. But I did find that drawing a chart, you tune into it as you're putting the lines in and you really have a feel for the chart by the time you start to look at it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
So I think there's something to be said for that, but mine are always wrong because I double check against the computer.
Oh, they're only wrong in your opinion, not when the computer might be wrong.
Yeah, you never know. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then I moved on, I did more courses. I got introduced to different sorts of astrology. We looked at electional, about drawing up charts for a particular event or like a wedding or time to publish a book.
Yeah.
Horary, which is when you ask a question and you have to judge whether it's a yes or no answer, which is more like the divination.
Divination, yeah. Okay.
What else? Mundane astrology, which is about countries and world leaders and world events and the big planetary cycles, which we've been looking at a lot this last year or so.
Okay.
And they've had to do counselling courses because if you do a reading for someone, they might not expect you to trigger off a few things that they don't talk about. And they can find it quite upsetting. I found when I started doing charts for people at work, they were surprised when I said I booked a room. And then one of my managers wanted a reading. And apparently he got back to his desk looking white, going, she's told me things I've never, ever talked about to anybody.
Wow.
And he was quite shocked because I think you can tell an awful lot about someone from their chart.
Okay.
So obviously I started with psychological astrology with Liz Green and those sort of people.
Right.
And then one of my first teachers, I started going to the Astrological Lodge of London about 1999. And Mick, he was a lovely Greek guy, asked 6 of us if we'd like to go to his once a month. And he was a very good teacher. He was a Capricorn. And he was a very traditional astrologer. So we always made a point of mentioning Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. He really made us look at it and work hard and justify everything we we said.
Yeah.
So he said, no, you're being too Piscean, Alison. You're right, but you're being too intuitive. You've got to explain to me why you've just said that about this person's chart.
Oh, wow.
And when he thought we were good enough, we were allowed to invite someone every week, every time. And we did a group chart reading for them for free.
Oh, wow.
It was really good. But then he went away.
That's a shame. He sounds like a cool guy. Wow. Okay.
So going on from that, have done chart readings for people, but I find it difficult if someone just comes along and sits there and goes, read my chart.
Right. And why is that difficult for you? Is that because
I don't know where to start.
Okay.
Often.
Oh, right. Okay.
If someone has a question or something that's bothering them, or maybe you could look at the transits to start from there to see what might be going through.
So do you find people come to you for a chart just out of curiosity more than actually asking for help or whichever?
Yeah, they used to, yes.
Okay, yeah.
But then it is difficult if someone wants help, because I'm not a trained counsellor.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes really you do need to understand that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it needs to be taken seriously. It's not just a party game, you know.
No, exactly. No. So do you think there's links between astrology and tarot? Because some of what you're telling, what you're saying is vaguely
I think
similar.
it's a form of divination. I like a structured approach to start.
Yeah.
So I will do certain things and check out stuff, but then you get to a point where you've tuned in, and I think you start going intuitively to different parts in the chart, different planets, or things come to you. So I do think it is a form of divination, although a lot of people would want to argue that.
Yeah. Everybody wants to argue about something these days, don't they?
So Krista was talking about tarot, and you can learn all the meanings, and I think you do need to learn the meanings, but then you have to trust that what's coming up,
what in your own instincts,
is valid.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And also, if you look at the chart of the person, you know if they're going to be ever so chatty or if they're going to be really quiet. So it helps you. Have you ever got it
completely wrong, or you think that because you've done my chart before, and some of the stuff that's come out of my chart didn't particularly fathom for me, and I'm like, really? We won't go into what some of those things might have been. But do you think that that's maybe just some stuff that might be buried deep down, and the person might not be aware of some of the things?
No, I think you have to enter into a dialogue, really, because we all use different parts of our chart.
Yeah.
Especially when we get older.
Yeah. So some things would be different.
That doesn't really work for me. I'm better using my moon or something.
Right.
People never think I'm a Pisces to start off with. I've got a strong Saturn. People think, oh, Capricorn or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So it is difficult, and that's where you do need people to feedback or have an idea if you're on the right track or not.
Right. Yeah. Because then that could
so many ways everything can happen.
Yeah. Okay. So would you class an astrological reading as a possible future rather than a set future of something that's happening or happened?
Yes, I don't like to forecast, really, because I think if you're on your right spiritual path and in tune with yourself, you're actually doing the right thing. I think you can look at the transits and see what sort of energies are going to be coming at you in the next few months or years.
Yeah.
And then try and work with that energy.
Okay.
So when it was my second Saturn return, I thought I better plan what I was doing for the next 6 years till I retired, because Neptune was about to go over my chart.
Oh, cool.
So to put some structure in.
Yeah. And
then not worry if I had no idea what was going on.
Cool. So when you I can't remember what you said now about you're doing it for like events and things like that. So say somebody wanted
electional astrology. I like doing that because that's very particular and quite mathematical.
It's quite, yes, and it is quite to the point, isn't it? There's no, so somebody's going to win if it's an election thing, or somebody's going to win if it's this, or somebody's going to whatever. But so there is no, it's a bit more like a yes and no, isn't it, rather than just seeing where it flows.
With an electional, you're trying to elect a time to do something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And if it's for, I don't know, a book launch, you wouldn't do that at midnight.
I know.
So you have particular hours of the day, and if it's a wedding,
okay,
there's so many days of the week maybe, or they just have 3 dates and you choose the best one.
Okay.
That will fit in with a person. When I was asked to do an electional chart for a baby's birth, it's
interesting.
my boss's wife was going to have a cesarean.
Oh, okay.
And I put a lot of work into it, but I checked with my teacher and he said, no, for goodness sake, if anything goes wrong,
yeah,
you're looking for the optimum, the best birth time, but most of us aren't born at the best time.
No, we're not.
And if anything goes wrong, they will accuse you
yes,
of advising them to have the baby born at that time. So I put it in an envelope, and the baby was born the next day, but at the same time, because the only way I could see the baby fitting in with the charts of the parents was to fit in with their ascendant descendant axis, because they had a reversed ascendant descendant. So I was quite pleased with that. But
yeah,
but obviously if someone's got cancer or something, you don't want to advise them when to have an operation, really.
No, definitely not. No.
I mean, do it for yourself, but
yeah, gosh, that's a bit scary, even for yourself, right? So where are we now with your astrology?
I've just got back from the conference, the Astrological Association conference, where we have like 5 streams of talks going at once for 2 days.
Wow, intense.
Last year we had to put everything on Zoom,
right?
Which was a challenge. And this year we tried to do it at the conference centre and on Zoom.
Oh,
which was
interesting.
even more challenging because a lot of international speakers and attendees couldn't come over.
Right, yeah.
So we had many people from the UK in person. And
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And can anybody go to these things, or is it just literally for?
Yeah, anyone. We can advertise them in future. So yeah, last year I started looking at horary astrology.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So try and think of questions to ask. So this is a really good book, Barbara Dunn.
Okay.
Horary Astrology Re-Examined.
Oh, nice.
It's
okay.
quite very dry, but
I don't know if that would suit me then.
Then my friend gave me a lovely copy of William Lilly's Christian Astrology. This was the first reprint they did of it in 1985. I know one of the guys that funded it.
Oh.
Because this was when traditional astrology was just coming back into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people that will go through this and take his charts and reproduce them in modern times and see how he worked the horary questions. And I think this is something we do a lot of because it's more divinatory. You have a yes, no answer. It's a bit like geomancy, because with geomancy, I always ended up with a chart at the end anyway.
Oh,
I went into astrology.
So you're always destined to be into astrology anyway, really, probably. Yeah.
And then for beginners, someone told me that this is one of the best textbooks by Sue Tompkins, the Contemporary Astrologer's Handbook. So I bought a copy of that.
Oh, okay, lovely. Yes, that's
good. But I worked a lot with the Marion March and Joan McKeever's books. You've probably seen them. There's a whole set. I haven't got them all. Look out for them. When I started.
Okay.
I find it quite but now I want to look more at mundane astrology.
Okay.
That's my plan for this winter.
Oh, okay.
It's looking at the major planetary cycles and seeing the impact they're having on us. Like, for instance, the planets last year, the outer planets, were positioned in signs where they haven't been in that combination since the mid-1400s, when we had the Black Death and the start of the Renaissance. So we know this is the start of something quite major.
Okay.
With the Saturn-Uranus cycle going into air, into now, where it's been in Earth, we're wondering what's going to happen with like internet and all these sort of communications and how we're going to survive what's coming. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
But we won't know what it's about really till I'm long dead and gone, probably.
Wow. That's So with the planets, because what's your opinion on the or Mercury retrograde and things like that sort of thing?
Well, I don't have a problem with it because I've got Mercury retrograde in my chart.
Have you? Because
my Mercury is retrograde in Pisces. It's like in its full and retrograde. It's like really bad. but I live with it, so there we go.
Because yes, when it seems to happen, lots of bad things seem to happen for me. I don't know whether that's because whatever's in my charts.
You're
whatever.
Gemini, aren't you?
Yes, I'm a Gemini.
Got quite a lot in Gemini.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, but I tend to get really crap time when the Mercury retrograde. And it happens. What's it, 3 times a year or something?
Oh yes, yeah.
And I'm obviously, like a few years back when I was a bit of a virgin on this sort of stuff, I'd never heard of it, so I wouldn't have thought. But if I sat here and thought back, I'm thinking, oh yeah, maybe I might be the reason. But do you think that is the reason, or do you think that it could
yes, I think it's a bad time to make business decisions. You need to go back over everything and reread all the small print,
yes,
and then make sure you're happy. It's just a time of going back and reviewing things before you move forward and start thinking of doing things. But I used to find that computers would invariably go wrong at work.
Oh, anything electrical. Anything electrical seemed to go absolutely nuts in my house. It's a bit crazy. But we've just been through one, haven't we? So it was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, things are all going direct again now, which is good.
Yes, but there was more than one, wasn't there? It wasn't just Mercury. It was another couple. I can't remember what they were.
Saturn and I can't remember if it was Mars.
Possibly, possibly. I wasn't really
paying
too much. I just heard the Mercury bit and I was like, oh, as you do, or as I do.
But I would look at it in relation to my own chart. And
right, yeah. Okay, so where are we? So with this year we're heading off to mundane astrology. So where are we like with so you're the head of one of the societies or something?
No, I'm on the board of the Astrological Association.
Oh, you're on the board of the Astrological
I'm not head of it. I do more service than being important. Pisces.
Oh, right, okay.
I ran the bookstall at the conference. I did do a talk because some of the speakers had pulled out, but I don't really like standing up in front of people giving a talk.
Okay,
I feel really uncomfortable.
So tell me what does make you comfortable. What's your, so give me some astrological goodies. What kind of stuff makes you tingle and stuff?
reading a lot.
Yes.
But, studying philosophy and obviously esoteric things, and I do like working in the background, helping get things organized and running. That's quite a strong Saturn trining the planets in my chart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm a big friend of Saturn, but not so happy with Jupiter, because Jupiter magnifies everything, and I have it in a T-square in my chart. I tend to get a bit carried away about what I think I might be able to get done.
All right. Yes.
And take on too much, and get a bit extravagant. So for me, I love Saturn. It grounds me.
Ah, good. Yes. Okay.
The other thing I have been looking at is esoteric astrology. I tried reading Alice Bailey, but I found that a bit indigestible.
Okay.
But my friend Wanda, who wrote the book about chart shapings that I was practicing last year, she's talks a lot about esoteric astrology, and we're trying to persuade her to do a book on it because she'd be quite straightforward and accessible. Because with the esoteric astrology, you have different rulers for the signs, and it's more about your soul's purpose in this incarnation, whereas the ordinary astrology that we look at every day is more to do with what we're doing in the physical plane. And I think for most of us that are of a more mystical bent, we would want to know what our soul's purpose was. Yeah,
exactly. Yes.
So the place where Wanda said to start was look at your ascendant, because that's important in esoteric astrology. So for me, I've got Gemini rising, so my exoteric ruler is Mercury, but in esoteric astrology, Venus rules Gemini. So then you look at your chart to see if the two rulers, Mercury and Venus, have any connection in the chart. So mine are conjunct, so that shows that my soul's purpose is in alignment with my everyday purpose in this lifetime.
Oh, very good.
But that's as far as I've got. But then you branch out further. And we were talking to someone, and her esoteric ruler was not in step with her mundane, if you like, ruler, exoteric. So she said, is this why I felt I've never had a great spiritual calling? I go, well, yes, probably.
Oh, right. Let me shut that on the floor. It's too noisy.
So yeah. I think for most of us, the esoteric would be a good sort of astrology to look into.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But then again, in the Golden Dawn work, I don't find I use astrology in the same way as I would outside. I tend to use it more for choosing a planetary hour on a particular day to do a ritual or consecrate something. And then work with that timing. To try and pull those particular energies, the planetary energies in. So I remember I had the lodger, I was making my wand. I was going, oh, then I've got to paint the black end so it dries in time for the hour of Mars. He was laughing at me in the kitchen, and he said, do you know what this black paint is called, the name of it? I'm going, it's acrylic. He said, no, it's called Mars Black.
Yes.
We thought that was really funny. But I did do quite a lot of that. And obviously, if you want to bring in the energies, we do talismans and things, don't we?
Yeah.
And then relating the different paths on the tarot and the tarot cards to astrological symbolism.
Yes.
It all makes sense to me. But the tarot, I haven't got very far. I know I tried learning with you.
Well, Krista done a nice, really interesting interview. Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
I've got my Thoth tarot deck out and started having a look at that. Yes. Oh, so what was it you were speaking about on your when you did your the thing?
My talk.
Yes, your talk. Well,
I tend to watch interesting programs or books and then and want to look at the charts of the people. But I watched a program about Anne Hamilton Byrne, a cult leader in Australia. Who, like, I think had 28 children, eventually went through her hands. She called them her family. And it was quite bizarre.
She had 28 children?
No, she begged, borrowed or stole 28 children.
Oh.
They passed them all off as her children. And it was a fascinating story. So I wanted to look at her chart. Then I wanted to look at female cult leaders. And so I found 3 with times and dates of birth to look at the moment when they, if you like, became a cult leader. What was it triggered them?
To
get into the power complex. And what is it that makes a cult leader? What planetary aspects and what planets would you look at in the chart? So like a strong Pluto conjuncting or square or opposing the sun would make someone who wants to be powerful and in control. And what gives them the magnetic qualities. And then you can go look at all your friends' charts. But we all know people that are very charismatic.
Yes.
And people aren't. I'm not particularly, but some people everyone just flocks to. And what is it about them? I find that quite interesting psychologically.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I was doing it for Halloween because it was Halloween.
That's true.
3 scary ladies.
Yes. Oh,
you can learn a lot from looking at the charts of famous people, although most of us will never be quite so extreme because we're not famous.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Like a friend was saying, what happened when Neptune was transiting your Sun, Mercury, Venus? Did you have a romance? I'm going, no. I did a lot of Golden Dawn work. And my friend said, yes, you did. You got a stray cat. You were in love with him.
Oh. So it doesn't matter what kind of romance, does it?
No, it was funny.
So excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, so whereabouts, so your next step is you're doing some mundane astrology, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
And I want
so
to practice a bit more horror-y.
yeah,
Which I
so with
think
the
will come in
mundane
easy.
astrology, are you going to do another course on that, or?
No, I'm going to try reading some books and just go to some lectures. There's quite a few people giving talks now online, if anybody wants to go to any.
Oh,
The Astrological Association has a group Facebook page. And because of the pandemic, all the local groups have been posting their talks, which have all gone online.
oh,
So you can
okay.
join talks anywhere in the world now.
Oh, brilliant.
And
Okay, well,
they
I'll put that.
pay on PayPal.
Oh, I'll put that link at the bottom of this interview, probably, when I
Yeah, I'll
find
try
it.
and find it. Yeah.
Yeah, and put it on. That'd
And
be great.
studying.
Yeah. Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
So
I'm not one to talk at great length.
well, that's brilliant. Well, you've done a brilliant talk. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a bit of an insight on
That's good. And
the
I'll
different
try and
ways.
give you some more links
Yes,
to
that'd be cool. Then I
people
can
that are
put them in
giving
the
really
link.
good. There's someone called Sharon Knight who's a more traditional astrologer, and she is excellent. There are various schools that are doing talks as well.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and I'll put those in the links. That'd be amazing. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Alison, for
Thank you, Jackie.
joining us. And we'll speak to you very soon.
Yes, I look forward to it. Well, I'll see you soon enough.
Yes, you will. All right. Lovely to see you, and that was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, that was amazing. So some good insights there on the different types of astrology. I'm going to go and have a look at some now, and I shall try get some links from Alison to put in the comments. So if anybody's interested in clicking a link, then to find out some more information about astrology, if you want, you can subscribe to my channel. There's loads more coming up. We've got something for Biophonic mythology coming up. So that'll be very interesting. Yes, so if you like my interviews, I'll be very grateful if you subscribe to my channel. Give us a comment. Let me know what you think of the interviews. Let me know if you've got any comments of your own, or if you would like to do an interview with me yourself. That would be fabulous. I'm me signing off now, and I shall speak to you all soon. See you later, alligator.